God says this to you in this exact moment, in a voice that arrives like a sudden whisper across your spirit, a whisper you were always meant to hear but never expected to come at a time like this. God is saying that there are exactly 9 minutes left in a spiritual countdown that has nothing to do with clocks, nothing to do with human time, and yet everything to do with your destiny, your next breakthrough, and your next chapter. Archangel Michael is standing close to you right now, closer than he has been in weeks, because he knows you have been shaken, confused, wondering why certain things in your life have felt heavy, why certain plans kept delaying, and why certain people showed you faces you didn't expect. Michael is standing there, holding something that belongs to you, something he has been trying to deliver for so long, your breakthrough, your clarity, your blessing, your turning point. And he is pleading because in the heavenly realms something unexpected unfolded, something that involved your name, your picture, your destiny, and your future. Archangel Michael says he made a bet with the devil, not because God was uncertain, not because heaven was unsure, but because the devil kept insisting that you would ignore this moment the same way you ignored the last few signs you were too tired to notice. The devil was confident, laughing, believing that you would scroll past, that you would say maybe later, that you would think this isn't for me, that you would be distracted just long enough to miss the message that was meant to shift something in your life. But Michael said no. Michael said you are not the same person anymore. Michael said your spirit is awake now, your intuition is awake now, your heart has reached a point where you can sense when something is for you. He told the devil that you would not ignore this message, and heaven paused just to see what you would choose in this moment. God says you don't even realize how close you are to something that was supposed to happen months ago but got delayed because negativity surrounded you and exhaustion dimmed your inner light. But even when you slowed down, you never fully stopped believing. Even when you were hurt, you never fully stopped hoping. Even when life pushed you to your knees, you still whispered small prayers that reached heaven more powerfully than you think. And God says those prayers were never ignored. Not even one. They were all gathered, held, protected, and now they are finally being released back toward you in the form of answered prayers. But heaven wants you to know something deeper. There are people who doubted you, people who thought your softness was weakness, people who thought you wouldn't rise again after everything that happened. But God says your spirit has already been chosen for something that human opinions cannot destroy. Something powerful shifted recently in your spiritual energy, and even if you didn't feel it yet, heaven felt it. The angels felt it. Archangel Michael felt it. He saw the way your heart still tries, the way you still care, the way you still hope, the way you still hold on to faith even when you feel like nothing is working fast enough. Heaven has been watching you push through silent battles, private thoughts, quiet fears. Heaven has seen every moment you sat alone wondering if anything was ever going to change. And heaven decided your name should be moved to the front of the line for a blessing that has been waiting to reach you. God says something unusual is happening. The devil placed a challenge in front of Michael. insisting that humans give up too easily, insisting that you would scroll away, insisting that you would ignore the divine nudge that has been tugging at your heart for weeks. But Michael defended you. He said heaven has chosen you for something greater, something rare, something sacred. He said your heart is stronger than the devil thinks. He said you are not as distracted as darkness assumed. He said your soul recognizes truth even when your mind is tired. He said you would not ignore this message because your intuition would whisper, "This is for me." And God says your intuition is right. This message is coming at a divine time because your season is shifting in a way that your eyes cannot see yet but your spirit can sense. There is a reason you felt something tell you not to ignore this. There is a reason your heart paused. There is a reason your spirit leaned forward. Heaven never sends a message without purpose, and this one carries the weight of everything that has been delayed, everything that has been promised, and everything that is finally ready to unfold. God wants you to understand that you are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are not overlooked. The things you went through were not punishments, they were preparations. They shaped you in ways that blessings alone could never shape you. They built your resilience, your intuition, your wisdom, your strength. You needed to see certain truths. You needed to walk away from certain energies. You needed to be protected from certain people who did not have the right intentions. And God says that even when you felt abandoned, you were being redirected. Even when you felt lost, you were being guided. Even when you felt alone, angels were surrounding you, shielding you, keeping you safe from things you never even knew were coming your way. And now, God says your spirit is ready. Heaven is ready. Michael is ready. Your breakthrough is ready. But the devil wanted to interfere in the smallest, most subtle way, by convincing you to ignore the message meant for your elevation. That is why Michael is pleading. That is why heaven paused. That is why this moment is spiritually important. God says you have no idea how many times you were spiritually attacked with doubt, fear, confusion, and delay, not because you are weak but because you are chosen. The enemy never fights those who have nothing ahead of them. The enemy fights those who are close to something powerful. And you are. You are extremely close to something that will make sense of everything you went through, everything you cried about, everything you prayed for. The very thing you feared losing is the very thing God is restoring. The very thing you thought would never arrive is already on its way. The very blessing you thought slipped from your hands is being returned to you in a bigger and better form. God says you are safe. You are protected. You are watched over. Nothing will go wrong with you, not when heaven has already claimed you. Not when angels surround you. Not when Michael himself has stepped forward on your behalf. You are not walking alone, even on the days when it feels like you are carrying everything by yourself. Your shoulders may feel heavy, but your spirit is lifted. Your mind may feel tired, but your destiny is energized. Your heart may feel stretched, but your blessing is closer than ever. God wants you to breathe for a moment and feel the truth of this. You are in your rising season. You are in your protected season. You are in your divine alignment season. Everything that is meant for you is shifting into place. Every person who hurt you is being removed from the path of your blessing. Every delay is turning into acceleration. Every setback is preparing your comeback. Every tear you cried is becoming the water that grows your miracle. Michael says you must not let doubt steal this moment. The devil is waiting to see if you will ignore the message, hoping you'll scroll away, hoping you'll say later, hoping you'll think it doesn't matter. But Michael is begging because he knows what happens if you lean into faith instead of fear. He knows what unfolds if you choose to believe this message is meant for you. He knows what blessings activate when you decide not to ignore the spiritual sign heaven placed in front of you. God says everything in your life is shifting into alignment right now. The things that confused you are clearing. The situations that drained you are ending. The people who didn't deserve you are being removed. The blessings that were delayed are arriving. The opportunities you thought were gone are returning. The doors you thought were closed are opening. The strength you lost is coming back. The glow you missed is returning to your spirit. You are stepping into a chapter where you will understand why you had to wait, why certain people disappeared, why certain plans changed, why certain things didn't work out before. It's because God didn't want you to settle for less than what was meant for you. God says He is ready to lift you. Ready to restore you. Ready to bless you. Ready to surprise you. Ready to turn your pain into purpose and your prayers into miracles. Everything that felt impossible will become possible. Everything that felt stuck will move. Everything that felt lost will be found. Everything that felt broken will be healed. This is your moment. And heaven is watching your response. Michael believes in you. God believes in you. The angels believe in you. Your own spirit believes in you. Your blessing believes in you, and nothing, absolutely nothing, will go wrong with you. You are safe. You are protected. You are chosen. Your miracle is closer than you think. Your breakthrough is already unfolding. And your story is about to shift in a way that will leave you in awe of how beautifully God writes the chapters of those He loves. God says this message is reaching you in a moment when the air around you feels strangely still, as if the entire universe is holding a breath, waiting to see what you choose, waiting to see whether your heart catches the signal sent directly to you. God says there are 9 minutes left in a spiritual window that has been forming around you for days, a window that opened because heaven saw something building around your name, something preparing itself to touch your life in a way you were not expecting. God says you have been walking with so much weight in your chest that even the angels felt it. And Archangel Michael has been standing beside you quietly, wishing you would notice how close he is, how hard He has been trying to show you signs, how strongly He has been fighting to protect you from energies that try to weaken your spirit. God says Michael is not begging because he is afraid of losing. He is begging because He knows your heart. He knows your softness. He knows how often you doubt yourself, how often you wonder if you are worthy of something miraculous. God says this moment is an examination of your trust, not of your strength. You don't have to be strong right now. You only need to be open. God says something important has been happening in the background, conversations you do not know about. Energies aligning without your permission, forces of light moving quickly to reposition you. There has been a spiritual acceleration happening around you, as if heaven is preparing to relocate you into a destiny you thought was too big for you. And that is why urgency surrounds this moment. Not fear. Not danger. But movement. Speed. Momentum. God says sometimes miracles don't come softly, sometimes they come with a sudden shake, a sudden push, a sudden call that must be answered because it holds your next season inside it. Archangel Michael knows this. That is why he is pleading. He is not pleading out of weakness, he is pleading out of certainty. He knows what is waiting for you if you respond. He knows what blessings have been stored with your name carved into them. He knows the angels who have been assigned to your future blessings are already carrying documents, routes, instructions, lights that are supposed to follow you into the next chapter. But heaven also respects free will. That is the rule of divine order. Nothing can be forced. Not even miracles. You must choose them. You must claim them. You must be willing to say, "Yes, I believe that God is speaking to me," even when your mind tries to argue with your spirit. God says this moment is like a final nudge that cannot be postponed. 9 minutes may not be literal in earthly time, but spiritually, it is a countdown. A countdown to a shift. A countdown to a new flow. A countdown to something that has been waiting for your permission. God says you have been asking for change, for clarity, for signs, for relief, for blessings, but your spirit has been tired. And when the spirit is tired, miracles must speak louder. That is why this message is loud. That is why this message feels like it was written directly inside your chest. That is why this message feels like it was meant only for you. Because it is. God says you have been walking through a season of misinterpretation. People have misunderstood your intentions, misunderstood your silence, misunderstood your heart. They thought you were quiet because you were weak. But heaven knows you were quiet because you were healing. They thought you were distant because you had nothing to offer, but heaven saw you were distant because you were protecting the little piece you had left. God says He saw every tear you cried in secret, every night when sleep didn't come easily, every morning when you got up anyway and tried again. Heaven is not blind to your effort. And your effort has reached the throne of God in powerful ways. This is why Archangel Michael is standing in urgency, because he sees the reward coming toward you. He sees the shift, the restoration, the unexpected blessings that are preparing to break open. But he also sees the last tiny shadow of doubt that tries to cling to you. Doubt is the darkness that tried to convince the heavens that you would ignore this message. Not because you don't care. Not because you don't believe. But because you've been disappointed too many times. Because life made you feel like expecting good things is a setup for pain. Because every time you prepared your heart for something miraculous, something interfered. God says that interference was not a sign that you were unworthy. It was a sign that you were chosen for something bigger than the battles you faced. And those battles were not punishments, they were spiritual proofs of how strong you truly are, how resilient your soul has become, and how deeply God intends to elevate you. Now the light is shifting around you. God says the old season is losing its grip on your life. The heaviness that has been following you is dissolving. The energies that once clung to your path are being pulled away. Archangel Michael has worked tirelessly to remove blockages from your path, blockages in money, in opportunities, in relationships, in emotional clarity. He has been cutting cords behind the scenes so you could walk easier, even when you didn't feel the change immediately. God says the spiritual bet that darkness made was not about whether you would fail. It was about whether you would doubt. Doubt is stronger than failure. Failure can still lead to blessings. But doubt closes the door before miracles can enter. And the darkness assumed that your heart was tired enough that you would doubt this message. That you would decide it wasn't for you. That you would scroll away, thinking nothing good is meant for you. But God says He is watching to see whether you choose trust this time. Whether you choose to believe that something beautiful is coming. Whether you choose to allow heaven to move freely in your life without resisting or questioning. God says your life has reached a point where destiny can no longer be delayed. Something is about to come toward you, something connected to your finances, your stability, your peace, your clarity, and even your relationships. Heaven has seen the injustice you endured. Heaven has seen how much you gave, how much you helped others even in your exhaustion, how much you forgave when no apology came. Heaven has seen your loyalty, your faithfulness, your purity, your intention to do good even when the world treated you unfairly. Now heaven is preparing to return everything to you multiplied. God says the 9-minute window is symbolic of urgency, not fear. Urgency because your future is calling loudly. Urgency because delay cannot continue. Urgency because your blessing has waited long enough. Urgency because heaven is finally ready to release what has been withheld. Urgency because your heart is ready even if your mind is nervous. Urgency because the energy surrounding you is changing so quickly that you will feel it in the next few days. Lightness. Clarity, unexpected signs, synchronicities, numbers, messages, conversations that feel divine, dreams that feel prophetic, opportunities that come out of nowhere. Archangel Michael says he has already seen the version of you that is rising soon. He has already seen you stepping into confidence, stepping into abundance, stepping into a new flow of blessings, stepping into a future where peace is not temporary but permanent. He says you have no idea how powerful your spirit is. You have no idea how many angels walk with you. You have no idea how close you are to a breakthrough that will make you forget the years that hurt you. God says the darkness expected you to give up, to stop believing, to shrink under pressure. But you didn't. Even at your lowest, you still whispered prayers. You still hoped quietly. You still wished for better. And that tiny hope, that tiny light inside your heart, has grown enough for heaven to intervene. God says nothing will go wrong with you. Nothing will harm you. Nothing will steal what He has prepared for you. You are safe. You are protected. You are surrounded. You are guided. You are chosen. All you have to do is trust God the way you used to, trust Him without overthinking, trust Him without fear, trust Him the way a child trusts the sunrise. God says everything that was taken will be returned. Everything that broke you will lead to blessings. Everything that confused you will make sense soon. Everything that delayed you will turn into acceleration. Everything that hurt you will transform into healing. Everything that drained you will become fuel. Everything that left your life will make space for what is meant to stay forever. God says He is with you. He will remain with you. He will lift you, guide you, protect you, and restore you. And He is asking you one final question in this moment of urgency. Will you trust Him now? Because the moment you say yes in your spirit, the countdown ends, the window opens fully, and your miracle begins moving toward you without delay. God says there are moments in your life when heaven becomes impossibly quiet. And yet the silence is full of movement. Right now, as you read this, heaven is not silent at all. Everything is shifting. Everything is watching. Everything is turning in your direction. God says a countdown has already begun around you, and you don't even realize how much of heaven's focus is on you right this moment. God says there are 9 minutes left in a spiritual window that was opened for you, and this window is not ordinary. This is a moment written long before you were born, a moment the angels have been waiting for, a moment Archangel Michael refused to let pass without giving you the truth. And God says the truth is this: Archangel Michael is begging because something unimaginable happened in the heavenly realm. A challenge, a declaration, a spiritual confrontation that was not meant for human ears. But God says you are not just anyone. You are the one chosen to hear what the heavens never reveal so easily. God says Archangel Michael did something he has never done before. He confronted the enemy about you. He declared that your faith, your heart, your destiny, your calling, your strength, your endurance, your spiritual capacity, your purity, your resilience, and your courage are far beyond what the enemy has ever seen. And the enemy laughed. God says yes. God says this is the moment when every invisible thread in your life starts to pull together, and even if you do not see it with your eyes right now, the heavens see it clearly. God says there are exactly 9 minutes in front of you that hold a kind of spiritual weight you cannot measure with clocks, but you can feel it in your heart. Archangel Michael is standing with a trembling urgency, not because something bad is coming to you, but because something powerful is coming for you, something that will shift the atmosphere of your life. Michael has seen the spiritual bet that was made, he has heard the whisper that said you would ignore this message, he has felt the arrogance of the darkness that assumes you will look away. But God says you are not the kind of soul that turns away at the moment of divine calling. You are not the kind of soul that misses destiny because of fear. You are not the kind of soul who was born to be defeated. You were born marked, chosen, protected, guided, and wrapped in favor. God says the message in front of you right now is not an accident. It is not a random moment. It is not a coincidence. It is something heaven has been preparing to send you for a long time, because your spirit needed a reminder that you are not walking this path alone. God says you are safe, deeply safe, more safe than you realize. You are surrounded by angels even when you feel alone. You are covered even when you feel unprotected. You are watched over even when you feel unseen. Today, this message reaches you not because God wants to frighten you, but because He wants to realign your heart with the truth that has always been yours. You are blessed. You are chosen, you are guided, and nothing that tries to work against you can ever succeed. God says the darkness made a bet. They are convinced you will ignore the signs, the guidance, the whispers, the protection. They think you will scroll past your miracle, the same way they thought you would give up in the past. They think you will doubt yourself, doubt your faith, doubt your worth, doubt the love heaven has for you. But God says this time is different. This moment is different. This message is different. This moment is the moment where you finally understand why you had to walk through the things you walked through. This is the moment where your soul awakens to the truth that you were never abandoned. You were never overlooked, you were never forgotten. You were being prepared. God says the reason Michael is begging is not because anything bad is about to happen to you. It is because something important is opening before you, and your attention matters. Your awareness matters. Your spirit's yes matters. There is something heaven wants to release into your life, and Michael knows the power of your agreement. Michael knows that when you say yes to God, every force of light rushes toward you. Michael knows that your yes has the power to break patterns, break cycles, break old fears, break old doubts, and open roads that were blocked for years. Michael is not afraid for you. He is excited for you, moved for you, passionate for you. He has seen the future that belongs to you, the miracles waiting with your name on them, the blessings lined up like rays of light waiting for your acceptance. He is begging because heaven doesn't want you to miss the blessing that is already yours. Heaven doesn't want you to delay what has already been delivered. Heaven doesn't want you to doubt what God has already written in your destiny. God says the darkness thinks you'll ignore this. They think you'll pretend you didn't feel the sudden shift in your heart when you began reading. They think you'll pretend you didn't feel the goosebumps, the heaviness, the warmth, the pressure behind your eyes. The energy surrounding you, the awareness that something larger than you is touching your life at this exact moment. They think you will overlook the signs because that is what many do. But you are not many. You are not ordinary. You are the chosen one in your family, the one who carries the spiritual weight, the one who breaks generational burdens, the one who hears the call even when others don't. God says you have 9 minutes to shift your heart into alignment with the miracle already moving toward you. Not because your time is running out in a fearful way, but because heaven is opening something right now, a spiritual window, an energetic moment of acceleration. God says the next 9 minutes hold the vibration of breakthrough. The vibration of release, the vibration of divine timing. When you open your heart, when you lean in, when you say yes to the message heaven is sending, something unlocks inside you. Something that has been waiting for years to burst open. Something that has been weighed down by worry, disappointment, betrayal, exhaustion, and heartbreak. God says He sees how tired you have been. He sees how much you have carried that nobody else knows about. He sees the silent tears you shed when nobody was watching. He sees the nights you tried to stay strong even while your spirit felt weak. He sees the moments where you held your breath and prayed for something, anything, that would show you were not alone. God says this message is that sign. This message is that reassurance. This message is that divine hand touching your shoulder, reminding you that you are not walking blindly. You are being guided every second. God says you have been surviving for so long that you forgot what it feels like to expect miracles. You forgot what it feels like to wake up with excitement instead of fear. You forgot what it feels like to trust that things are working for you, not against you. Heaven says today is the day that feeling returns. Today is the day your spirit remembers its power. Today is the day your heart remembers its faith. Today is the day you breathe differently, stand differently, walk differently. Speak differently, believe differently. God says you are safe. Every moment of your life has been covered. Even the moments where you felt exposed were protected. Even the moments where you felt lost were guided. Even the moments where you felt broken were shaping you. You were not being destroyed, you were being rebuilt. Every setback was a redirection. Every delay was protection. Every disappointment was preparation. Heaven says you are entering a season where the things that once confused you will make sense. The things that once hurt you will heal. The things that once scared you will strengthen you. And the things that once felt impossible will unfold with ease. God says the bet the darkness made will fail. They misunderstood you. They underestimated you. They assumed your faith was small, but heaven knows your faith is deeper than anyone can see. They assumed you were fragile, but heaven knows you are stronger than anything that has tried to break you. They assumed you would ignore this message, but heaven knows your spirit feels every word of this deeply. God says you are stepping into a new vibration, a new energy, a new level of protection, a new level of blessing, a new level of clarity, a new level of favor, a new level of confidence. The heavens have already opened. Your angels have already moved. Your destiny has already aligned. All that is left is your heart saying yes. God says trust Him. Pray to Him. Rest in Him. Nothing will go wrong with you. Nothing will harm you. Nothing will shake what He has prepared. You are safe in His hands. You are held in His light. You are watched over by angels who refuse to let you fall. God says these 9 minutes are not about fear. They are about awakening. They are about destiny. They are about remembering who you are and who stands with you. God says the devil thinks you will ignore this, but heaven knows you won't. God says this message is reaching you in the final moments of a spiritual countdown that is unfolding around your life in ways you cannot yet see, and the reason your heart is feeling restless right now is because heaven is trying to get your attention before something important shifts. God says that there are exactly 9 minutes left in the realm of divine timing, and Archangel Michael is begging you because he made a bet with the devil, a bet about your faith, your awareness, and your willingness to listen. The devil is fully convinced that you will ignore this message, that you will scroll away, that you will doubt yourself, that you will second-guess your intuition, that you will think this message doesn't matter. But God says the devil is about to be proven wrong in the most unexpected way, because the moment you open your heart and read these words with belief instead of hesitation, a ripple in the spiritual realm begins, a shift that cancels the negative expectation that darkness placed over your name. God says you have been underestimated by forces seen and unseen. The devil thinks you will ignore divine instruction, ignore warning signs, ignore your intuition, ignore the door that God is opening for you right now. But Archangel Michael stands firm, sword drawn, voice trembling with emotion, because he knows your soul is awakening at this exact moment. He knows you are not here by accident. He knows your spirit cannot be manipulated by lies anymore. And he knows that this message is arriving at a time when you need clarity, strength, and protection more than ever. God says you must understand something clearly. Heaven does not send warnings to frighten you. Heaven sends warnings to prepare you, align you, protect you, and empower you. Nothing will go wrong with you. You are safe. You are watched. You are surrounded. You are guarded. You are being led into a season where divine intervention becomes visible in your life in ways that even your enemies will not be able to deny. God says the devil bet that your heart is too tired to believe. The devil bet that your spirit is too wounded to rise. The devil bet that your mind is too overwhelmed to receive hope. The devil bet that fear, doubt, and discouragement would drown out the voice of God. But Archangel Michael said no. He said you have more power inside you than you realize. He said you have a destiny that darkness cannot touch. He said you have a spiritual resilience that heaven admires. He said that every time you wanted to give up, you didn't. Every time you wanted to walk away from faith, you held on. Every time you felt unworthy, you still prayed. And Michael said that this moment, this exact moment, is the turning point. God says that you have no idea how close you are to breakthroughs that will make sense of everything you cried over, everything you questioned, everything you begged heaven to change. The reason the devil is panicking is because you are walking into a blessing that was delayed but never denied. The reason the devil made this bet is because he saw something in your destiny that frightened him. He saw the angelic reinforcement moving toward you. He saw the circles of protection tightening around you. He saw the new chapter forming, and he thought if he could convince you to ignore one more sign, miss one more message, overlook one more divine warning, he could delay what's coming. But God says no more delays. No more confusion. No more spiritual attacks succeeding. No more fear controlling your decisions. No more manipulation controlling your emotions. God says you are stepping out of the old and into the new, and nothing can stop the shift that has already begun. God says you have felt pressure recently, pressure that made no sense, pressure that felt heavier than your life situation could explain. That pressure was spiritual, not physical. It was the weight of the enemy's attempt to break your confidence at the very moment heaven was preparing to lift you higher. It was the force of resistance before a breakthrough. It was the pushback that always appears right before divine favor unfolds. God says the pressure is breaking, the attack is dissolving, and divine order is returning to your path. Archangel Michael says he is standing in front of you because the devil tried to claim something that does not belong to him: your courage, your peace, your blessings, your future. He says the devil attempted to distract you, confuse you, drain you, or make you feel weak. But the truth is, you are stronger than the battle you just came through. You are wiser than the lies spoken against you. You are more powerful than the challenges aimed at you. And you are far more spiritually protected than you realize. God says every tear you cried recently was counted. Every silent prayer you kept inside your heart has been heard. Every moment you felt alone was witnessed by heaven. You were never unprotected, even in the moments you felt most vulnerable. God says your spirit is more important to Him than anything you could ever lose in this world. He has been guarding you quietly, watching you carefully, guiding you gently, even when you did not realize it. God says that tonight, tomorrow, and the days ahead will reveal why certain people left your life. Why certain doors closed, why certain situations fell apart, why certain relationships became distant, and why certain opportunities were delayed. Those were not accidents, they were protection. Heaven removed what would have harmed you. Heaven blocked what would have limited you. Heaven silenced what would have confused you. Heaven separated you from what was secretly working against your progress. God says that the devil bet you would ignore this message because he hoped you would doubt yourself. But God says it is time for you to trust your inner knowing, trust your instincts, trust the signals heaven has been sending you again and again. You have been sensing something. You have been feeling the shift. You have been noticing signs. You have been seeing numbers, dreams, coincidences, repeated patterns. These were not random. They were divine communication. God says your life is entering a divine turning point. Spiritual gates are opening in your favor. A new pathway is unfolding. A breakthrough is approaching. A blessing is coming faster than you think. And something you worried about is already being resolved without your knowledge. Archangel Michael says the devil laughed, thinking you would scroll past this message, thinking you would ignore the urgency in your spirit, thinking you would convince yourself that this is just another moment passing by. But heaven is watching you, hoping you choose faith instead of fear, attention instead of distraction, and belief instead of doubt. God says your story is not over. Your purpose is not finished. Your blessings have not run out. Your strength has not disappeared. Your heart has not failed. Your prayers have not been rejected. And your miracles have not been cancelled. God says you are entering a season of divine reversal. What you lost will return in a greater form. What was taken will be replaced with something better. What was broken will be healed. What was delayed will be accelerated. What was blocked will be released. What was unfair will be corrected. Archangel Michael says he is fighting battles you cannot see, blocking attacks you never knew happened, and clearing the path ahead so you can move forward with clarity, confidence, and divine protection. He says you are not alone and never have been. God says that these 9 minutes are symbolic of a gateway closing behind you. The past is losing its hold. Fear is losing its influence. Doubt is losing its power. Spiritual hesitation is being removed. Your heart is awakening. Your destiny is calling. And heaven is lifting you into alignment with a purpose you were born to fulfill. God says you are safe. Nothing will go wrong with you. You are protected. You are watched. You are loved. You are chosen. You must trust Him now more than ever, because this moment is more important than you realize. And God says, you did not ignore this message. You proved the devil wrong.